it was devastating. It was heartbreaking.
Next at noon, friends remember a local woman recently found dead after being reported missing. Plus, Governor Tina Kotek gives her office's recommendations on the state's budget for the upcoming fiscal biennium. But first, teachers were back on the picket lines this morning at all 21 Greater Albany schools after a shakeup in the negotiations between striking teachers and the Albany Public School District. Thank you for joining us. I'm China Green. Our top story comes from Albany, where early this morning we learned a tentative agreement between striking teachers and the Greater Albany School District fell through. The district says a return to work agreement separate from the contract could not be agreed upon. It says that there was an issue around whether teachers will be compensated for all of the days we're on strike and how many days can be made up during the school year. The union is set to hold a press conference at 1 this afternoon. We will keep you updated on air and on our KGW News app as we learn more. Governor Tina Kotek held a press conference this morning to discuss the state's budget. She began by highlighting the December forecast predicts a stable path for Oregon. She then gave some of her budget priorities for the next 2 years, most notably a continued investment in ending the state's homeless crisis.
My 25-27 budget stands firm in addressing our homelessness and housing crises concurrently. Continuing investments in shelter, rehousing, and prevention, as well as funding to build additional affordable homes, cutting red tape so housing projects can break ground faster, and support for first-time homebuyers are imperative to our steady progress. That is what it means to build on progress.
Governor Kotek also recommended investments in behavioral health treatment and money for services to assist children in their education. Meanwhile, a shakeup at one of Oregon's largest employers as Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger abruptly announced that his departure from the company this morning. His exit ends a nearly 4-year run where the chip maker failed to keep up with rivals like NVIDIA and AMD, especially in artificial intelligence. The company named 2 interim co-CEOs while the board of directors searches for a permanent successor. We're following this story closely and we'll have more coming up on KGW News at 4. All right, taking a quick break from the headlines and stepping outside with a live look from our Pioneer Courthouse Square Skycam, looking down on that Christmas tree. If you missed the lighting ceremony from Friday, we have the whole live stream event up on our YouTube channel. But taking a look at the weather today, we woke up with very freezing temperatures, Rod.
Yeah, you know, we had the first freeze of the fall season out at PDX Sunday morning, and then this morning we smashed that and went down into the 20s for the very first time. The low temperature, and these aren't official, in some cases they could get adjusted when the final climate report for today comes out later on, but it looks like 27 is going to be the low in Portland. We have not been that cold since the ice event of last mid-January, so it's been a while. 23 in Hillsboro, which actually, if that were PDX, that's the record for today's date out of the airport. 23 there, it was 24 up in Vancouver. Troutdale was warmer because of east winds, 23 up in Kelso. 32 down in Salem, not as cold as Portland by a handful of degrees because you folks did not have any clearing sky last night. Now here's where we are at noon. Another day set to be up to 50 degrees along the coast with beautiful sunshine. It's been that way going all the way back to Thanksgiving Day. Portland is sunny. Let's see where we are. Well, we're up to 44 where we thought we would be at noon. Despite that really cold start, we've got a couple hours to bump the temperature up a little bit more. Now you get out into the gorge from Hood River out through the Dalles. This is the Dalles, the Oregon Veterans Home camera. Temperature inversion locking low clouds down. They've been here for days. They'll be there for a couple more days. So it is cold. It is 37 degrees. Our state capital, foggy this morning. The low clouds in place, only 33. I don't think you get out of the clouds today. Yesterday you did not, and that kept you in the 30s all day long. So Portland, a nice contrast with the sunshine, up to about 48 for a high. I've got us 46 at 4 o'clock, and then quickly into the 30s with clear skies this evening if you have plans to be out and about. And that's your update.
Thanks, Rod. We have an update on the case of Susan Lane Fournier, the woman who was first reported missing after it was thought that she went hiking with her dogs in the Mount Hood National Forest. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office says that she was found dead on Friday and her husband is charged with her murder. The Sheriff's Office also announced that 2 dogs believed to be Susan's were also found dead. KGW Celine Stevens has more on the story after speaking to people who knew Susan.
The body of Susan Lane Fournier was found on Friday, and now as of Sunday, police say they believe to have found her 2 dogs dead. Friends, including those that she worked with, say that she was a special person to many, and now they're grieving her shocking death.
It was devastating. It was heartbreaking.
Susan Lane Fournier, commonly known as Phoenix, worked at Hoodland Bazaar. She was a fixture at the eclectic Welch's store, someone people would just stop by to see, like Kristen Elizabeth, now helping the business after Susan's death.
Instantly, we connected. We hit it off. We had so many things in common. She was so excited. She handed me her phone number and she said, "I need a new friend." And we just kind of connected from there.
It was the owner of the store who alerted the police when Susan didn't show up to work on November 22nd. The owner's brother, Khalid, who manages the store, says in the weeks leading up to her disappearance, Susan told him she had some issues in her personal life.
She just notified us, I'm going through some stuff where I have problems. So that's why a couple of weeks she brought in the dog with her all the time in the parking lot for her safety.
Sunday, police announced that 2 dogs believed to be hers had been found dead Saturday. While it's not clear what led to Susan's murder, her husband, Michael Fournier, was arrested the day her body was found for second-degree murder. Susan had filed for divorce a month before, citing irreconcilable differences.
Women suffer, and it's unacceptable.
Word in the community was that she was afraid to serve him because she was afraid something like this would happen.
There is now a journal in the store for anyone to share memories.
I said that, I know we only met once, but you left a lasting impression, and your joyful energy was contagious, and I hope that justice prevails.
Susan also had birds at home. Her friend Vicki Adams contacted authorities to take the birds in.
I've grated them up some fresh fruit, and they're really happy, they're really vocal.
Vicki would stop by the store to see Susan, describing her as wonderful and unique.
She had a thing for heart-to-heart hugs. So when you give a hug, you did it heart-to-heart, which was wonderful. It was just one of the little things about her that was so pleasant, so warming, so enlightening.
I love that's very kind of you to take them in like this.
Phoenix brings that out in people. She brings out the good.
In Welch's, Celine Stevens, KGW News.
The teen found guilty of killing a 13-year-old in Beaverton will be in court for a sentencing hearing later today. A warning here, the details in this case are disturbing. Last month, the jury found Daniel Gore guilty of raping and killing 13-year-old Milana Lee. Gore was tried as an adult. Gore was a 16-year-old runaway at the time of the crime in 2022. Investigators say Lee was strangled to death in the woods near where Gore was staying in a tent. Investigative reporter Kyle Boshi will be listening in on today's hearing, and we'll have more ahead on KGW News at 4. The driver of the vehicle involved in a deadly street racing crash over the weekend has been arrested. Portland police responded to a report of a crash at North Marine Drive and Ledbetter Road around 10:30 Saturday night. An early investigation shows the driver, 18-year-old Juan Medina Dominguez, was performing donuts when the car flipped onto its right side. A teen in the passenger seat was not wearing a seatbelt and was killed. Medina Dominguez is charged with negligent homicide and reckless driving. Portland police are asking for help to find this missing woman. Take a look at your screen here. They say 78-year-old Jacqueline Alexander has dementia and never returned to her southeast Portland home after she left sometime after 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. She lives in the Centennial neighborhood near Southeast 162nd and Main Street. If you see her, call 911.